Well, it's been nearly a week since Gene Hackman's body was discovered. This morning, while authorities have ruled out some scenarios, they still don't know what happened to Hackman and his wife.
As we're learning incredible new details this hour about the circumstances surrounding his death. His front door open, scattered pills on the bathroom countertop, one dog in the closet, two still alive on the property.
Oh my God! The story of Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa's final days has become the most captivating mystery recently. Everyone's desperate for answers. How could these beloved figures, known for their quiet lives and generosity, meet such a mysterious end in their secluded Santa Fe home? The details emerging from the investigation are as puzzling as they are heartbreaking, and now whispers of new evidence have set the stage for what could be one of Hollywood's most sensational revelations ever.
As Hollywood gets ready to honor its best at the Academy Awards this weekend, there are still unanswered questions about the death of two-time Oscar winner Gene Hackman and his wife. The couple was found this week in their New Mexico home. On Friday, investigators ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning and revealed other clues that may lead them to determine what did happen.
It all started when maintenance workers Jesse Kessler and Roland Lobey made what should have been a routine visit. What they found was horrifying. The door to the estate, typically secured behind gates, was ajar. Inside, Hackman's lifeless body was sprawled in a mudroom near his cane, as if caught mid-stride. Betsy was discovered in the bathroom with a space heater eerily close to her head and pills scattered across the countertop. To make it even stranger, one of their German shepherds had also died, found in a nearby closet. Two other dogs survived, one roaming outside, another near Betsy. For such meticulous people, the chaotic scene raised immediate questions.
And here in Santa Fe, Sheriff's Department officials here working behind me have yet another high-profile case on their hands. Aaron, you and I covered at length the Alec Baldwin case, that fatal shooting on the set of the movie Rust. This is the same investigative team that worked that case.
Initially, everyone assumed natural causes or a tragic accident, especially given Hackman's age of 95. But as investigators pieced together the timeline, the story grew much darker. Hackman's pacemaker recorded its last activity on February 17th, 9 days before discovery. This sparked endless theories. Was it simply his heart giving out, or something more sinister? Betsy's body showed signs of mummification, suggesting she'd been deceased for some time too. But why was she found separate from her husband? And what's with that strange positioning near a space heater?
His wife, they say that initial findings note no external trauma to either individual. They say that carbon monoxide toxicology reports have been requested. Finally, as sheriff's officials gather information, it's worth pointing out that this could take weeks or months before we know exactly what the cause of death is. That's because these medical examiner cases often take time in order to get to the root cause of these.
Authorities initially ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning after tests found no leaks. This eliminated one theory but left investigators scrambling for answers. That's when rumors started flying. What if this wasn't just coincidence? What if someone else was involved? Sources close to law enforcement hint that new evidence points to foul play. Those scattered pills, now under intense scrutiny. Were they staged to mislead investigators? Some believe the prescription bottle was tampered with to create a false narrative. Others question the space heater's proximity to Betsy's body. Was it placed deliberately to accelerate decomposition and confuse timelines? These questions have left even seasoned detectives completely baffled.
There was a dog who was alive in the house and a dog also that belonged to them who was outside the house.
Right, but the door being ajar means, what Judy describes, which is they could have been there 10 days or 2 weeks, meant that the dogs could have had access to come in and out of that doorway. They might have had access to food and to water.
The most shocking development, rumors of suspects being arrested. Though officials haven't confirmed this publicly, leaks suggest individuals with potential motives, robbery, personal vendettas, or something darker, are being questioned. One theory gaining traction is that the couple's secluded lifestyle made them vulnerable targets. Despite being private, Hackman and Betsy did interact with select community members. Could someone in their inner circle have betrayed their trust? Or was this the work of outsiders who exploited the couple's isolation? These possibilities have cast a dark shadow over what was once their peaceful retreat.
Tarika, good evening to you. As well known as Gene Hackman was, neighbors tell us that he and his wife led intensely private lives here in Santa Fe, their longtime home. And while we've been learning more about this case, there is still so much we don't know.
Adding to the mystery, investigators found 2 cell phones, an orange prescription bottle, and a 2025 monthly planner in their home. Experts believe the phones could reveal crucial information, from final communications to location data showing unusual activity. The planner has become a focal point too. Did it contain notes that might shed light on their final days? Could it point to someone they were expecting or fearing? Meanwhile, forensic experts have their theories. One pathologist suggested Hackman's heart condition might have triggered a series of tragic events. If his pacemaker recorded an arrhythmia on February 17th, did Betsy find him in panic? Did she try to retrieve medication only to meet her own end? This theory, while plausible, doesn't explain the other strange elements: the scattered pills, the deceased dog, or the unsecured entrance.
On Wednesday, February 26, 2025, at approximately 1:45 p.m., Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to 1425 Old Sunset Trail, where Gene Hackman, 95, and his wife Betsy Arakawa, 65, and a dog were found deceased.
The possibility of staging makes everything more complicated. Betsy's mummified hands and feet, while consistent with space heater effects in dry conditions, could suggest a deliberate attempt to obscure the timeline. Similarly, those scattered pills might have been placed intentionally to create the illusion of an accidental overdose. These details, if true, point to a calculated effort to mislead investigators, raising the stakes in this baffling case.
Deputies arrived and gained access to the residence where they observed Mrs. Arakawa deceased. They continued the search of their home and located Mr. Hackman in a separate area of the residence, also deceased. A German Shepherd was also found deceased, and 2 other dogs who appeared healthy were located on the property.
Even more bizarre are whispers about missing items from the home. Sources hint that certain valuables may be unaccounted for. If true, this suggests a theft motive. Yet there were no signs of forced entry. Could the perpetrator be someone they knew and trusted enough to let inside? Or were they caught off guard by someone who bypassed their security? As days turn to weeks, anticipation builds for the official police report. Insiders tease that findings could be explosive, answering pressing questions while raising new ones. Will the report confirm foul play or suggest a tragic series of unfortunate events? And if suspects have been apprehended, what will their connection to the couple reveal about the hidden dynamics of their lives?
From this search warrant, there were 2 green in color cell phones, 2 bottles of medication, 1 bottle of over-the-counter Tylenol, my request medical records, and a 2025 monthly planner calendar. Those items were secured from the residence for evidentiary purposes.
For now, the mystery remains painfully unresolved. The world waits breathlessly as investigators work tirelessly, connecting dots and examining every inconsistency. The image of Gene Hackman, who spent decades captivating audiences with portrayals of complex characters, now looms larger than life. His demise, shrouded in mystery, feels like the final act of a drama no one anticipated. And as more details emerge, one thing is clear: the truth, when finally revealed, promises to be as compelling and layered as any role Hackman ever played.
Well, this week, our community lost a giant, and I lost a dear friend, Gene Hackman.
The story. Gene Hackman's life and career is what Hollywood legends are made of. A man who had it all: fame, fortune, talent, yet chose to walk away from the spotlight for a quieter life. Now, with his unexpected passing and the mysterious circumstances surrounding it, people are reflecting not just on the tragedy, but on his incredible legacy. Hackman wasn't just any actor, he was a force of nature who could command attention with just a glance. Behind that powerful presence was a man who valued humility, privacy, and authenticity above all else. The world has lost an icon, but how does one even begin to measure the impact of a life like Gene Hackman's?
I had the pleasure of working alongside Gene on 2 films, Unforgiven and Under Suspicion. And like everyone who's ever shared a scene with him, I learned he was a generous performer and a man whose gifts elevated everyone's work.
Hackman's career spanned decades, bringing depth and complexity to every role. Think about it. How many performers can claim 2 Academy Awards? One for his unforgettable turn as Popeye Doyle in The French Connection, and another for his chilling performance as the corrupt sheriff in Unforgiven. Don't forget his nominations for Mississippi Burning and I Never Sang for My Father. These weren't just characters. They were people you believed in even when you hated them. Hackman made you feel like you were watching a real person, flaws and all, rather than an actor playing a part.
He received 2 Oscars, but more importantly, he won the hearts of film lovers all over the world. Gene always said, "I don't think about legacy. I just hope people remember me as someone who tried to do good work."
But his talent didn't stop there. Hackman's versatility was unmatched. He could make you laugh as easily as he could make you squirm. Remember his Lex Luthor in Superman? He transformed a comic book villain into a character with wit, charm, and just the right amount of menace. And in The Royal Tenenbaums, Hackman's portrayal of the deeply flawed but endearing royal became the heart of the film. No wonder his co-stars described working with him as both a privilege and a masterclass in acting.
So I think I speak for us all when I say, Gene, you'll be remembered for that and for so much more. Rest in peace, my friend.
What's more impressive is how Hackman stayed grounded despite his success. In an industry known for glamour, he was the opposite of a diva, interested in the craft, not the fame. When he stepped away from acting, he did so without fanfare. His final role in Welcome to Mooseport wasn't the dramatic farewell fans hoped for, but for Hackman, it was enough. He'd given everything to his career and was ready for other passions like writing and painting. He once said, "I didn't want to go out on a sour note. The business is stressful, and I felt I had nothing left to prove." His retirement to Santa Fe with Betsy speaks volumes about who he was. They became fixtures in the local scene, supporting businesses, charities, and arts, quietly, without seeking recognition. People who knew them described the couple as kind, generous, and deeply connected.
It's weird because I knew a lot of them, so they weren't intimidating. Meeting Gene Hackman the first time, was like, but then finding out he was so funny, that was a great thing. You know, when I saw him, he did that speech in Birdcage where he just says that thing about, and the leaves. And at that point, you just slowly nod off. But he did it so, it's a hard thing to make boring hysterical. And he did it. And he did it perfectly, he had this.
For those who crossed paths with them, their humility was shocking considering Hackman's status. Local business owner Dew Lanham, who co-owned a restaurant with Hackman for nearly a decade, shared a heartwarming story. After losing a golf bet, Hackman repaid him with a wheelbarrow full of pennies delivered to the restaurant with a note signed, Captain Hollywood. Moments like these revealed his down-to-earth nature. He didn't want celebrity treatment. He wanted to be a neighbor, a friend, someone contributing to the community his own way.
Of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa, the couple along with their dog found dead in their New Mexico home this week by a maintenance worker. Listen, this is part of the 911 call.
Even his artistic pursuits reflected his unassuming personality. After retiring, he turned to painting, creating works that now hang in local businesses, including the restaurant he co-founded. Remarkably, none are signed. Friends say this was intentional, letting the art speak for itself rather than drawing attention to his name. That was Gene, a friend said. He didn't need the spotlight. He just wanted to create, share, and give back without fuss. Hackman and Arakawa became silent benefactors for numerous local causes. One story involves a struggling business he helped during a difficult period, insisting his involvement remain anonymous. He didn't want recognition, said a community member. He just wanted to help. That's who he was, someone who saw where he could make a difference and did so without hesitation.
The reason the digital information from both of their cell phones is so important, Natasha, is because cell phones can track movement, and that's what they are going to look into. When did those cell phones cease not only to be used, but cease to move?
Even in retirement, Hackman couldn't escape attention. His presence in Santa Fe was significant. Locals tell stories of seeing him biking through neighborhoods or chatting at community events. As years passed, he became more private, especially during the global health crisis. Friends noticed the couple limiting outings, with Betsy taking extra precautions to protect her husband's health. It's heartbreaking that in their final years, they may have felt more isolated than ever, even in the town they loved so much.
Now to new details in the investigation into the of Gene Hackman, who received an emotional tribute at last night's Oscars just days after he and his wife were found dead under suspicious circumstances.
The outpouring of grief following their passing has been overwhelming. Social media flooded with tributes, with people sharing favorite performances and personal stories. Hollywood took notice too. Clint Eastwood, who directed Hackman in Unforgiven, called him a giant with no equal. Morgan Freeman's emotional Oscar tribute called Hackman a man whose gifts elevated everyone's work. Perhaps most touching was from Stuart Ashman, Hackman's Santa Fe friend, who recalled how Hackman traded him a painting for a dozen eggs. That was Gene, Ashman said. He didn't see himself as a movie star, just a guy who loved life and the people around him.
That carbon monoxide as the cause of death can be ruled out. In certain situations, especially when it comes to delayed discovery, post-mortem carbon monoxide levels can be unreliable in general.
Despite all praise, Hackman's passing has left an undeniable void. The mystery surrounding his final days only deepens the loss. How could someone so larger than life be gone under such strange circumstances? What does this mean for his legacy? As investigators piece together what happened, one thing is certain: the world will never forget Gene Hackman and the incredible mark he made on film, art, and the lives of those lucky enough to know him.
Right now we don't. Of course, we executed the search warrant yesterday, starting on the evening of the 26th, all into yesterday afternoon. And one of our investigators attended the autopsy yesterday. We don't have more information. We're trying to put things together, put together a timeline when the decedents were last seen or spoken to.
As we reflect on his life, we can't help wondering, what made Hackman so magnetic, so unforgettable? Was it raw talent, dedication, or something indescribable that's felt in every performance? Whatever it was, Hackman was more than an actor. He was a storyteller, a craftsman, a man who lived life on his own terms. While the mystery surrounding his final days may never be fully resolved, his legacy will inspire generations. The enigma of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's final days remains a haunting mystery with more questions than answers. As we await further revelations, we wonder, was there foul play, or was this a tragic series of events? And if suspects are being questioned, who might have wanted to harm such a beloved couple? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going as we honor Hackman's legacy and seek truth in this perplexing case. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay curious and stay tuned.